So this is an example I used with a team that wanted to start to move towards Agile, very early beginnings for that process. Project managers hanging around, and a lot of project management activities were counterintuitive to what they wanted to do from Agile. So I'll just talk you through it. So first of all, we'll look at the three symbols that we'll be using through this. There's an arrow with a plus, which means it's a reinforcing mechanism, an arrow with a minus, which means it's a reducing mechanism, and an arrow with two lines through it, which means there's a delay in the effect. Okay? So let's start off with a risk of failure. This is what a lot of project managers are worried about. They're worried about time, cost, and quality. They're fearful of overruns and that kind of thing. And we said to the project managers, okay, so you guys use your experts quite a lot. What's the relationship between the risk of failure, the fear of failure, and the use of experts? And they said, well, that absolutely drives that. It's a reinforcing mechanism. That's why we do it. And we go, great, that's fantastic. So why do you do it? What's the backwards effect of that? What's the looping effect? And they said, well, it reduces the risk of failure. That's why we're doing it. And you go, great, from a project management point of view, that's what you're incentivized to do, that's what you're focused on, and that works really well. But then we said, well, that's all very well, but let's look at other things. Let's look at hero culture, for example. What's the effect of that on a hero culture? And they start to sort of do a little bit of thinking, and they go, well, okay, yeah, fine. We agree now that probably increases the chance of a hero culture. But that's a good thing. We love our heroes. They fly in at 3 o'clock in the morning and they get stuff, put a cape on and they fix stuff. It's brilliant. Okay, fine. So what about if I put another factor up here, which is called a knowledge gap in the team? Because we'd seen that as well. What's the effect between those two? And they go, well, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess it increases that. But there's probably a time delay as well. Okay, fine. And we said, well, what's the difference? What's the relationship here between the knowledge gap in the team and the risk of failure? And at this point, they draw the last arrow. And what they realize is that that's a plus. It reinforces it. And they look at this and they say, well, the things we're doing are we're trying to reduce the risk of failure, but there's something else going on that's increasing the risk of failure. And it's at this point where they usually try and go back through and check which arrow's the wrong way round, because they start to discover dysfunction happening for themselves. So this is a really simple way of using causal loop diagrams, which is part of systems thinking, to illustrate the system and the things that are going on, the desirable and undesirable effects that are happening. And it helps people through helping them draw it themselves. It helps them discover the dysfunction for themselves that's going on. And quite often, once they've done this, they go, well, we know we're trying to do that. We didn't mean this to happen. And you go, that's okay. That's just part of the system, right? It's what's happening. What could we do differently? And suddenly they come up with loads of ideas. So it's a really nice way of helping people discover dysfunction and then accepting change and getting involved in what the improvements could be.